Welcome back to Talking Fire. It's Hilton Turner and Clive Ford. The topic for this video is servicing. There's been quite a few questions with regards to servicing, with regards to how companies service, what they cover in a service, what the standards require of a service. So, Clive, you coming from a contracting background, I'm going to ask you. I, Hilton Turner, have a facility with 100 devices. I need my system serviced. I phone you and I say, please come see me. I need my system serviced. What steps do you as a contractor take from there? And how do I ensure that what you're telling me is correct and what information is relative?
The first thing is it the first time I'm coming to your site or not? You've had an installer put it in and he's decided that he doesn't like you anymore and he's not going to service you and you're looking for somebody to look after your system.
Well, we'll speak about generally new installation, 1 year warranties over and above, company not interested in servicing. I've then reached out to you to say my 1 year maintenance warranty is done.
Right.
Can you please come take over my system?
So as a new contractor coming to see you, obviously the first things I'm going to ask you is, what does your system do? Are there any peripherals, any other services that are going to be switched on and off from the system? If it goes into fire condition, are you going to be shutting off your UPS and the whole building comes to a shutdown? That kind of thing. You should have this information from your OEM manuals, which we've mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'm going to be going in blind into your system. So let's assume that you got nothing and it's like, we don't know what the system does. The service technician is going to go to the panel and he's going to look at it and he's going to see if he can download an addressable system. He's going to download a cause and effect matrix off of the panel and he's going to analyze that and see if there's any outputs controlling stuff. If it was installed correctly and handed over correctly, there should be some documentation on that, or there should be some information he can draw off the panel. Okay. So he gets all of that. He looks at the batteries. He makes sure that the battery calculations are right and that 7 amp hour battery is sufficient for the panel. And then he's got to test. First time coming to site, I don't know your site. He's going to test the whole system. He's going to go through each and every point on the system because he does not know the system. He's going to test each and every smoke detector, each and every call point, and each and every sound to make sure it works.
Okay.
Right. So that's his first initial service, new contractor taking over the site.
Okay.
Thereafter, depending on your requirements, depending on your facility, what you are doing, he's going to either do a quarterly or a 6 monthly or an annual service. So let's go worst case scenario. You're working on a really dirty, dusty area, and we're going to suggest you, me as a contractor, I'm going to suggest you and say, your system, your facility is very dusty. We recommend that you service it every quarter. Remember, the standard requires the whole system needs to be tested over an annual year period. You can have as many visits as you want there with a minimum of 2 visits. So it's a dirty area. I suggest that we service your system every 3 months so you know that it's working properly. Over the year period, so every quarter, I'm going to test a quarter of your devices, different ones every quarter and different zones. You don't want to test all your detectors in zone 1 the first quarter, all the detectors in zone 2 on the second quarter. You need to split it over. Be logical. Be a little bit thoughtful about this. It's best to do. Most of the panels can be put into service mode, so you test the system, all works, and then your last test that you do is you then allow the sounders and the strobe lights and all of that stuff to operate, so you know that that system is working. You make notes of anything that you would see that is not correct. So if you haven't got documentation, you make a note of it. If you haven't got manual call points at your escape routes, make a note of it. There's not a requirement from the system on the standard, but it's good practice. You want to know, you pay me to do the service, you want to know that is your system working or not. It doesn't help me just going, I've serviced it, here we go. You have no idea what the system does.
Which is kind of like, I suppose, across the board of what we expect from specialists.
Yeah. And especially if you're working on FDIA contractors, they should do it properly. And whether you're doing it, so your first service, you're going to do a full service, and then you can give all of that information because that's the information that you should be getting across. Like I say, it's not a requirement of the standard, and the service is not a design review, but the service technician is at the same level as commissioner. So he should be able to say to you, listen, you've got this installation and you're missing a detector there and you're missing a core point there. So he should be able to advise you. And then obviously best business practice is, this is how much it's going to cost you to rectify those problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paperwork.
Paperwork.
After your service, what should I receive? And now I'm speaking once again because obviously a big focus is a big drive towards fire detection systems is driven by insurance companies, etc. I mean, for example, should my car be stolen or should my car get written off, my insurance company wants to see that I've got a full service history. Once again, comparing cars to fire, it's the standard thing that I do. What documentation should I expect back from my contractor in order to confirm my system has been installed and that everything? Is there just service books? Are there reports required? And what information does the standard require to be put on that report, if any?
Remember, if we go back to a couple of videos back, we were talking about logbooks. Yes. So you got a logbook by the panel. Your service technician is going to fill in there that it was serviced on the, let's see, where are we now? The 5th of December, 2024. The next service is due then. I've serviced it. He's then going to create a service sheet to give to you, and the correct requirements that are going to be on there is a little bit of a history of what you got. You got an addressable panel, you got 100 detectors, you got the batteries, the voltage is right. Just a bit of a sort of a health check on your system. It's not a requirement of the standard. The standard says you need a service certificate to say it's been tested. However, that doesn't help anybody. It's like you take your car and you service, it's been serviced, but they don't tell you that you need new brake shoes in a couple of months' time and your tires are flat. It's good practice to give that information through to the end user so that they have a bit of a history of what their system is. Because keep in mind, if there's a fire, the insurance company is going to go to the client and go, all right, you got a fire system, does it work? And he's going to go, well, I've got a service certificate and it says John serviced it, and that's it. You don't tell him whether it's working or not. So it's good practice to give the person as much information as possible. Like I say, you don't have to go down to the nitty-gritties of loop calculations and so on, but the system being tested and 70% of the devices don't work. So it's good for the guy to know that so that he knows that he needs to fix it.
Okay. I think servicing it's obviously important, and
absolutely, yeah.
I think more so. You work in the industrial sector and stuff like that, but across the board there are requirements, and it's specifically part of life safety and property safety and
business continuity and all of that kind of stuff is important. And servicing as with anything, as with vehicles, as with whatever you procure generally these days that's mechanical or electric, it does require a service of some sort. If you look at it, and in general, if you look at a medium-sized fire detection system, it costs a couple of rand. It's not like 50 rand that you go and get a detector at Builder's Warehouse. It does cost money. It's really silly not to look after this thing and get it serviced and make sure it's working. Firstly, and secondly of all, it is a requirement by law that you need to service the system.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's, and then remember that part of your responsibility as the client is you've got to get people appointed on their specific areas, fire marshal and so on. It's just common business practice.
100%.
Yeah.
And once again, end users, let your third-party monitoring company know that is happening. Let your staff know that tests are happening. Just make everyone aware of it.
Correct.
And just service your system. And
so if you're going to go and test the system, it's phone your monitoring system, your monitoring company. Will be testing the system from 10 o'clock today until 12 o'clock tomorrow, but this evening we will be leaving at 4 o'clock. Ignore any alarms. If there is an alarm, we are busy working, or conversely, we will phone you and say, listen, there is actually a fire, come and look at it. Yeah.
And lastly, did you get the alarm?
This is important. Yeah.
All the stuff's very good. Clive, thanks for that. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. And we look forward to getting more questions and more information from the viewers as to what they would
and I'm
like
sure
us
the
to
people out
discuss.
there are going to be asking us all sorts of wonderfully interesting questions.
Yes.
Please.